Welcome to Ride Forever. With over 450,000 motorcyclists on the road in New Zealand, we wanted to find out just how much people know about how to handle a bike on our roads. More importantly, we wanted to get 3 riders together to tackle 3 different riding environments and see how it changes the way they ride. And to entice our riders a little more, we're offering up a fantastic prize of a whole selection of new riding gear to whoever we think gets the most out of this little experiment. So, without further ado, here are our 3 riders. Meet Dan. 26 years old, he's been riding for 6 years now, has a restricted licence and hits the streets on a 250 Bandit.
I am nervous, just learning new things and just making sure I do correct it to the best of my ability. I see the next couple of days as being, a bit of a learning curve for me, and with the other guys here, I hope to learn quite a lot about group riding.
Our second rider, Jamie's been on his bike for over 25 years now and worked as a motorcycle courier in Auckland and in London.
Riding as a motorcycle courier, you learn a lot of skills dealing with traffic, dealing with unexpected things. I maybe ride a little closer or fit myself through gaps that maybe wouldn't otherwise, but as a rule, my riding's relatively safe.
Well, relatively speaking, our next rider, Pete, is definitely the most experienced of the 3, with over 30 years riding under his belt. Pete works in the motorcycle sales industry and used to race both motocross and road bikes.
40 years of age now, I'm enjoying riding Harleys and just kicking back and relaxing. It's a lot of fun. Luckily, I work in a Harley-Davidson dealership and they're good enough to let me have one. No matter how long you've been riding bikes, there's always something to learn. It's always good to have someone else's input, someone else's perspective. I'd hope that I might have a little bit of biking knowledge I can share with the other 2 guys as well.
The guys' first test is navigating through the capital city's busy streets, but first they'll have to get kitted up. Now remember, our riders don't just have to wear the ordinary motorcycle safety gear that you'd expect. They also have to contend with several cameras mounted all over their bikes so that our 3 expert judges can watch their every move. We've chosen 3 guys who don't just know the rules, they live, breathe, eat and sleep motorcycling, and are here to see just how much Dan, Pete and Jamie really know. Our first judge, Wayne Christie, has been riding for 45 years now and has risen the ranks to become the police national motorcycle instructor. Mike O'Donnell has ridden all over the world and is a passionate adventure motorcyclist. When he's not touring, he's a motorcycle journalist and currently runs Trade Me Motors. Jim Furneaux's been riding for over 40 years and as the National Manager of Driver Licensing Standards, he knows exactly what Dan, Pete and Jamie should know when they get on their bikes. With the cameras rolling, the boys are off for a trip around Wellington City during the busy lunchtime rush. Remember, Jamie's got years of experience navigating through traffic as a motorcycle courier and naturally takes the lead.
Yeah, it's a perfect day. I can't wait to get out of town.
It's like I say, you're in Wellington now, not Auckland. It's like this regularly.
Yeah, it kind of depends on your definition of regular though. Yeah, it's all getting a little busier now.
Yeah, we're on a bus route, so it does tend to take a bit of time to get around.
Interesting to see, we've got 1 white helmet, nobody's wearing any reflective vests.
Yeah, black may be the new black, but it's no good for standing out to all the people in cars.
Are you allowed to use the bus lanes for motorbikes in Wellington?
The perennial question.
Yeah.
You can actually use them in certain hours.
So are there any rules on using the bus lanes in Auckland?
Yeah, you're anyone but the motorways, but you can use all the Auckland bus lanes are you can access the motorbikes.
Well, bus lanes can be used by motorcyclists at certain times of the day. Signage says they can be. There's certain times of the days that they shouldn't be used as well.
Okay, just a quick reminder about those bus lanes. Each city does have its own rules and it's best to check in with your local city council before you use them. So far so good with our 3 riders, but what happens when we put the boys through some real Wellington traffic congestion?
That's interesting.
Pretty tight overtaking now. Not a lot of indication going on there that I saw.
No.
No, there's not.
Certainly none here.
This feathering now, coming right down and putting yourself in the intersection, over the limit lines,
but look at this.
is a no-no, and that's a no-no also.
Look how tight that turn is.
What is it about riding a Harley that makes you into a cowboy? I don't know. But, you know, it literally looked like a large horse being wheeled in and out of that traffic, you know.
Yep. And it was a very awkward turn.
The rule of thumb that I use for that is if you've got 2 lanes of stationary traffic, nobody in front of you, I do filter up to the front, stay back from the line, go nice and carefully. If there's somebody already in that spot on a motorcycle, then stay the hell away, because if you get stuck in there, you've got nowhere to go.
Pete's lane changing isn't the only issue of concern for the judges. Keep your eye on the gold Honda Odyssey.
Down there, right?
Odyssey's
Down
coming
the left.
alongside.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, you are a tool, mate. Tool.
You can't quite see what it is that goes wrong. Has the guy seen him or not, I don't really know. But by the same token, to yell at him just pisses the guy off. And what's that going to do?
Exactly. And I looking at that clip there, when he pulled up into that lane, he was right to the left-hand side of the lane, and the car who pulled up on his right may have had ample room to do so.
If he'd been commanding the centre of the lane, that vehicle couldn't have got down beside him.
I think that's absolutely right. You know, you see a lot of motorcyclists, particularly ones starting out, who will go across to the far left thinking that they're being courteous and they're being safe. In fact, what they create is a lack of clarity in the people behind them, where they want them to pass them or put alongside or what have you. I think by being in the centre of the road in a city riding, you do create a definite zone that is your safety zone.
That's right.
And also the fact that he was on a Harley Davidson just makes it worth, you know.
Harley riders, I mean, you come to expect it, eh?
Of course, through city streets, it's not just other traffic that you have to look out for.
There's people around here just stepping out on the road, so keep your eyes peeled. If it looks like they're going to cross, there's a good chance they will.
But just a few minutes later...
Watch that pedestrian, mate.
Straight through the pedestrian crossing.
And a few more minutes after that...
Sorry guys, I just went straight through the pedestrian there.
Yeah, this is not good.
Now, this is where I feel Jamie's had a brain fart.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's had a total lack of concentration.
Definitely.
Not seeing that pedestrian is like coming into an intersection and blatantly going through a red light. And, oh, sorry, I've gone through a red light. I didn't see these cars here. If there's a central island or raised island in the middle of the road, that means if the pedestrian's on your right, on the opposite side of that island, you can actually freely go through. However, if there's no raised island, you must stop until the actual pedestrian has actually passed you.
Is that how it works, isn't it?
Yes.
Their ride through the city is just about over, but not before we can throw one more obstacle at them.
Whoa. Well, I don't think he saw me.
I had a strange feeling he was going to do that.
He was in a good position himself, close to the centre line, and he chose to do an avoidance method, which was just to swing out to the right to avoid. But you got to, in my mind, be prepared to do the swing out and to avoid and also come to a stop.
Interestingly, Dan's reaction was to hit the gas. He swerved, but you could hear the revs go up on that 250.
I think, Jim, you know, your point's a good one. He's the youngest guy and the least experienced and potentially has the most testosterone floating through his system. When there's a potential hazard like that, rather than being more cautious, you know, drop it down a cog and let it go and get past it. You know, it's a more aggressive attitude, and sometimes that aggression can buy you trouble.
So, some mixed results through the city. Pete's lane changing and road rage certainly surprised the judges, while Jamie riding through 2 pedestrian crossings is not the sort of thing we'd expect from a motorcycle courier. Dan, on the other hand, has been relatively steady through the city. Let's see what happens when we put him in the lead as the boys head out to the open road.
Hey guys, when the next opportunity arises, I'm gonna overtake this car in front of us. Seems to be a bit over the road, and I feel uncomfortable sitting behind us.
Well, we can probably do it now.
Okay guys, I'm gonna overtake this car, okay?
Watch the oncoming car, man.
This is interesting, because, watch this. Here he goes.
Watch the oncoming car, man.
Bang, bang, down 2 gears. He'd already spoken about getting ready to overtake, and it wasn't until the last minute that he changed down.
And he's on the smallest displacement bike to do that on.
Right.
Bloody 250s.
Can't keep up, eh?
No, you're just holding me up.
Yeah, you know, on the one hand, Pete may have been a little bit impolite, hassling him about the 250. On the other hand, Pete's actually got a pretty good point.
Yes.
When you've only got 250 cc's worth of power or torque, you should use that really carefully, and you shouldn't make immediate demands on that engine, because it's not going to respond. You can't expect it to. So, yeah, I think Pete's probably actually got a pretty good point.
Looks like the old pace is increasing a little bit here.
Yeah,
They're doing a fair flip.
Along the straight.
Feel the power.
Look at this, straight up the left-hand
Up the
side.
left-hand
Now,
side.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And, yeah, well.
Hello.
Yeah, just saying, take it easy.
And now we've slowed right down.
I wasn't, sir.
I mean, it's classy, isn't it? Young guy on a bike on the open road, going fast, passes the older guys on the bigger bikes because he thinks he can. Cop comes along, he's the first guy on the end, just whoa,
Yep.
and the other guys sail past him.
Not good, but passing on the left is not a good thing to do, especially when you're in a group situation like that, because Pete could have moved for something that Dan couldn't see, and all of a sudden his line's blocked.
Yep.
And you got two riders down.
Yep.
It's time for the boys to cross the Rimataka Hills, a challenging set of corners for even the most experienced riders.
There we go. Great training ground is the Rimatakas.
Oh, yes.
Okay, hey guys, there's a passing lane come up. How about we overtake this full drive and
Sounds like a good idea.
cool.
So he's talking about what he's going to do, but he's not changing down, is he?
Once again, quite a nasty off-camber corner coming up here.
Cheers, mate. I'll keep that in mind. Oh, it is a bit of a nasty one, eh? Right, here I go, mate.
Ooh.
Why is he looking backwards going through a corner on the Rimatakas?
See what I mean?
Terrible.
He actually looked around while he was entering the apex of the corner, and he's looking here, looking there. I think he's more worried about what the other people are thinking about him than he is concentrating on getting through the corner. Early tip-in, early apex, and he runs out of room.
Yep.
Well, in my mind, he's going too quick for the corner, and he's not looking for his vanishing point. He's looking into his apex, which in my mind is a no-no. You should be looking forward at the vanishing point.
Yeah.
And that way it'll make it smooth through the corner.
You know, one single rule on motorcycles, if there was one rule, look where you want to go.
Yep.
Look where you want to go.
It's a classic.
And invariably, you will go where you look.
Exactly.
So if there's a hazard, a big bloody truck, you look at the truck, bang, you're going to hit it.
Yeah. See, the other thing here, again, he's on that 250. He didn't really get himself prepared to overtake. He knew he was going to do it. He was talking about it. But then he leaves it to the very last minute, screws the thing on, and then he's got to wind it off again because he's carrying too much speed. Again, he's looking for speed, he's not looking for acceleration.
Okay, Dan, it's probably about time you moved that baby over, and I'll maybe lead the way downhill. It's a bit hard to slow one of these things up when you're pointing downhill.
Sad but true.
Fair enough, mate. I'm just going to move over to your left and you can take over.
Hey guys, I think I have seen a slight sign of some diesel spillages, as I mentioned before, so just keep an eye out for them.
Cheers, mate. Will do. And let you know if I spot any on the way too.
He's getting
Now
a bit
he's
far
right on the
over there,
centre
isn't he?
line,
close to the
right
centre line.
close
Yeah.
to the centre line, which is a good position for a left-hander.
Yep.
Entering,
Yep.
and a good position once again next to that right-hander.
He's quite smooth. Look, there's Dan.
Yeah.
He's got one arm off the bar, looking down, looking at something he's driven over.
Yeah. He's always looking
That's a
at the
good
left-hand
position
side.
from
Yeah.
for a left-hander there.
Pete's
Yeah.
looking pretty smooth there, actually.
Yep.
Cool.
I love Pete's line of sight there, you know. You see he's
Yep.
always looking
Yep.
where he's going, he's looking through.
Yes,
And
exactly.
it's beautiful to watch.
So, Pete's experience is really showing and obviously impressing the judges. As they broke for a quick pit stop in Martinborough, Pete decided to give Dan a few pointers on how to handle a few of those tough Rimataka corners.
Okay, Dan, if you remember when up at the hill before when we were on the Rimatakas, especially that off-camber corner that caught you out a wee bit?
Oh yeah, is that on the way up, was it?
Yeah. It is a tricky corner, no doubt, but I think you'll find it a little bit easier if you start the turn-in a little bit later than you are. Like if it's a right-hand turn, for example, you're coming in too early, too tight, and then on the way out you're having to run way too wide and end up using, all the road, and you might end up running out of road. Whereas if you hold on to the wide line first and hold it wider later, you can then cut across the apex. You've got a lot more room exiting the corner, you're on the way out, and it gives yourself a whole lot more room, a little bit more vision through the corner. You can see what's coming through the corner a little bit safer. It's definitely easier for you to do it that way.
Oh, cool. So on the way back, I'll follow your riding pattern on the way out, and if not, Jamie's.
Yeah, Jamie's doing it.
Yeah.
All good, and carpet it up smooth.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good trip. I've learned a bit too, actually. I probably stay a bit too close to the centre line sometimes. Those big trucks coming up through there. Yeah, they're definitely they're wide vehicles.
They're on our side of the road. The Arctics, they have to turn so wide, don't they?
Yep.
That's all pretty good.
Yeah, I've learned a lot on the ride and enjoyed it. It's been good.
After a short breather, Pete takes the lead heading out onto the country roads.
Okay guys, you may notice it's starting to rain. Obviously it's getting a bit heavier. Just bear in mind, watch those white lines and the shiny patches of tar seal where the tar's bled to the surface.
Good call.
Yeah,
Excellent, excellent call.
Yeah, and I noticed the cattle trucks were leaving a bit of manure around as well, and that stuff's mighty slippery.
Don't mind me if I go to the middle of the road more than normal. It's just trying to stay on the rough bitumen instead of the smooth polished patches in the tyre tracks.
Good to see all those headlights on when it gets a bit dimmer.
Yeah,
Nice
right.
visibility.